All right. Well, we've kind of addressed most aspects of this page, but there's one significant thing we've skipped over. Talked about the home page, the one search, the chat reference, subject guides. Talked about the various subpages about the library, doing library research, internet resources, frequently asked questions. But up till now, I have not addressed this first page on the list where it says search subscription resources. Search subscription resources is basically a page that lists our databases one by one individually so that they're searchable one by one. As a researcher myself, I find it much easier to search an individual database than it is to try to use the one search effectively. When you can do this for finding articles through one search, but you're going to find thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of articles, and it can be really difficult to kind of drill down and navigate and find the best information. But if you go to individual databases and search them one by one, I think it'll be more effective. It'll be easier. So let's go to this page where it says search subscription resources. This is a list of our online databases, and databases are basically collections of journal, newspaper, and magazine articles. They have been published. They've been fact checked. They've been checked for accuracy. In some cases, they've gone before what's called a peer review board, which is basically a collection of specialists in a field who've all read the article and agree that, yes, it has some good new information and should be shared. Because of that, because of the publishing process, the peer review process, articles from a subscription resource have kind of a built-in level of credibility or authority to them that you aren't always guaranteed of finding through a Google search. The other thing too in these articles is that all of the articles in these databases are available to you free of charge. You're actually paying for them through your student fees, but you're not going to run into the problem where you track down an article through a journal on Google and you get to the article, but they want you to pay for it. They want you to pay $35 or $50 for an article. All of the articles in these databases are free of charge because we've paid for them up front. Just one more thing. The off-campus login instructions. If you're not on campus, you need to log in first to a proxy, which will guarantee that you are a North Hennepin student. The login is very similar to what I was doing in another tutorial for the virtual reference collection. You'll either use the 14-digit barcode number on the back of your student ID, or you can log in with your STAR ID. And then we've got our databases. They're kind of subdivided according to general use. And as we move down the list, then there are more subject-oriented and subject-specific databases, psychology, science, etc. Probably the best database we have, the best overall database is EBSCO's Academic Search Premier. It's got the broadest coverage of subjects and access to over 8,000 periodicals, magazines, scholarly journals, and so forth. If you're not sure where to start, if you are just kind of beginning your search, I would say start with Academic Search Premier. It's always a good place to start. Our EBSCO ebook collection, also nice. It's got over 80,000 full-text books. It's searchable as a database, or when you're searching for books through our collection, you are going to find both physical books and ebooks on your topic. Credo General Reference. This is a collection of reference books, encyclopedias, dictionaries, general guidebooks to literature, to science, to um, medicine, and so forth. Very similar to the actual physical books we have in our reference collection. Skip over a couple of these. The Electric Library. This is a nice database, very similar to EBSCO Academic Search Premier. In fact, there's a lot of the same coverage between the two. Sometimes students find it easier to access and navigate Electric Library. I would say, start with EBSCOhost, and if you are really struggling or you're not finding what you need in Academic Search Premier, then Electric Library is a good maybe secondary spot to look for information. JSTOR is a very good academic database. It's got a lot of information about economics, history, political science, and so forth. It's especially useful if you're writing a paper that has any kind of a historical aspect or a historical take on a topic. ProQuest Newspapers. This is a newspaper-specific database which can help you in a couple of respects. Sometimes instructors will say, write a paper with at least 3 different kinds of sources or 5 different kinds of sources or something like that. Well, newspapers are a different kind of source than a magazine or an academic journal. Also, newspapers generally do a much better job of covering what's very current, what's happening right now. Say, for example, you wanted to write about the controversy surrounding Brett Kavanaugh and his nomination to the Supreme Court. You're probably going to find a lot more information in ProQuest newspapers than you would find in one of our article databases. As I continue to scroll down, you can see then we have some more subject-oriented databases. For psychology, there's PsycArticles. Science and biology, we've got Elsevier Science Direct and EBSCO Sport Discus. Sport Discus we purchased for our exercise science program. It's got lots of good stuff about sports, physical fitness, exercise, all that kind of thing. If you're ever writing a paper where your topic kind of falls into an argument or debate or controversial issue, you have to write about gun control or abortion or capital punishment, we have Points of View Reference Center and CQ Researcher that cover those. Our art databases, ArtStore and Oxford Art Online, are primarily image collections. We have a couple of business databases. There's Business Source Premier, Regional Business News. We have a couple of nursing-specific databases for our nursing department. CNOL Plus with full text, very nice database, lots of information there. And the American Journal of Nursing. And then we have a streaming video database called Films on Demand. We'll talk about all of these databases in more detail in other tutorials, but that basically wraps things up for now. Any questions, feel free to ask Craig or Lisa. Send us an email, give us a call, talk to us in person.